the channel Pills of Heaven. In this video I would like to continue with some pills for pioneers of the truth. In particular I would like to talk about the Al-Akhiru Al-Zaman, the last times in the Qur'an. From the Qur'an and the Hadith comes the content of the Islamic eschatology that describes the last judgment and the tribulations associated with it. There are major signs and minor signs of the hour, which are incredibly reflecting the reality we are living nowadays. Moreover, many of those signs converge with that of some other spiritual traditions and sacred books. In the Quran, it is said that Allah, God, and His messengers are the ones who have the knowledge of the hour. There are two types of signs that announce the hour, the major signs and the minor signs. Today I will talk about the minor signs, mentioning the most significant. The coming of fitna, tribulations, and the removal of khushu, the fear of God and the reverence of God. The hour will come when a man will pass by the grave of another and wish he was in the latter place. The same that is said in Revelation chapter 9 verse 6. In those days men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will escape them. Similar revelations come even by the messengers of Fatima. The living will envy the dead for what their eyes will be forced to see and their ears to hear. The hour will come when the most wicked member of a tribe becomes his ruler and the worthless member of a community becomes his leader. When a man is respected through fear of the evil he may do and leadership is given to people who are unworthy of it. The loss of knowledge and the prevalence of religious ignorance. The spread of riba, usury, interest, and zina, adultery, together with fornication, pedophilia, homosexuality, and so on. The frequent incident of distortion, public humiliation, and defamation. Jewish fighting Muslims. The hour will come when paying charity will become a burden. When naked, barefooted shepherds would compete with one another in the construction of high-rise buildings. In fact, the Bedouins, the people in the modern region of the UAE, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, are actually competing in the construction of very tall buildings. Enmity between relatives and neighbors. The Euphrates will discover a mountain of gold and people will fight around that gold. This fight would not be a conventional warfare but a nuclear warfare, and Muslims, accordingly to the Quran, should not fight for that gold. Muslims won't be involved in fighting. The Malhama, the apocalyptic great battle to occur in the end of times, accordingly to Islamic eschatology, will involve others who are not Muslim, or those Muslims who will disobey the Prophet. However, it is not to wait that nuggets of gold will come out from the river. This in fact is tafsir. A Quranic tafsir attempts to provide elucidation and interpretation for a clear understanding of God's will. There are hadith that come out in the form of mutashabiyat. They have allegorical meaning and they have to be subjected to tawil, an allegorical interpretation. So, like the flying donkey refers to the modern airplanes, the mountain of gold refers probably to the oil. When trials and tribulations will arrive from the east, referring to the Islam struggle against invaders from Asia, such as Mongols or later the communism. When Muslims slowly but deeply will adopt the traditions of others like Persian, Jews, and Christians. When religion will be affected by heretical innovations based on arbitrary views to the point that the Muslim will resemble to a non-believer. Abundance of police squads and oppressive officials who wield whips which are the size of the tails of a cattle. The prevalence of illicit sexual relations so much that diseases will appear that didn't exist before, like AIDS and so on. The condonment of musical instruments and of male and female singers. Widespread and condoned consumption of wine. The mosque will become like palaces. In fact, the decoration of mosque is becoming a matter of pride and competition. The ornate embellishment of copies of the Holy Book. A perceptible acceleration of time, when a year feels like a month feels like a week like a day like an hour, and an hour like the small amount of time it takes for a palm leaf to burn to ashes. Closeness between markets, meaning that markets will affect each other's trading. The rise of idolatry in the community when idols are worshipped and graves are made into sanctuaries. Imitation of the young by the old with plastic surgery and so on. Prevalence of avarice, greed, and covetousness. Pervasiveness of trade and wealth gained from trade. Abundance of earthquakes. Departure of the righteous so that those who will remain are mainly evil. The rise to prominence of the despicable, to where the liar is believed, the traitor trusted, and the fool advice-headed. Extending greetings of peace to acquaintances only when the communal spirit of society is weakened. Seeking knowledge from minors. The pervasiveness of writing when knowledge of how to write is widely spread. Neglect of the rules of Islam by Muslims. Distension or swelling up of the new moon to where it appears bigger than previously observed. Abundance of lies and lack of verification in the transmission of information in the news, the so-called fake news. Prevalence of false testimony and suppression of true testimony. Disproportion in the balance of men and women to such an extent that one man would have to maintain 50 women. That is yet to occur, but it could refer to the impact of environmental pollution and genetically modified food on male sperm production. Women would arrange their hair to look like the hump of a camel. When women perform in public dressed yet naked, as they do today. When women dress like men and men dress like women. Donkey-like sexual intercourse on public display. Children born outside of marriage would become commonplace. In fact, marriage itself will become obsolete. When a slave woman would give birth to her mistress, referring probably to an increase in slavery or even referring to surrogacy pregnancy. Frequent occurrence of sudden and unexpected deaths. The greening of Arabia, when the land of the Arabs returns to being a land of rivers and fields. When there is much rain but little vegetation. When humans will speak to predatory animals, to minerals and objects. When the Rome, Byzantines, the pallid people are in the majority and fight against the Muslim. When sectarian and political divisions erupt within the Islamic community, namely the list of civil wars of the early Islamic history. People will earn more money by illegal haram methods. Lightning and thunder will become more widespread. There will be a special greeting for people of distinction, meaning that the only measure by which people will be judged will be their wealth. Trade will become so widespread that a woman will help her husband in business. No truly honest man will remain and no one will be trusted. Nations will call on each other to destroy Islam by any means. Islamic knowledge will be passed on, but no one will follow it correctly. Muslim rulers who do not follow the guidance and tradition of the Sunnah will come. Some men will have the heart of devils in a human body. Greed will become more widespread and honorable people will perish. A man will obey his wife and disobey his mother and treat his friend with kindness while avoiding his father. Voices will be raised in mosques, something that is prohibited in Islam. People will treat a man with respect because they fear the harm he may do. The emergence of the Sufians in the Syrian region. The truce enjoined Roman Muslim campaign against a common enemy, followed by Al-Malham al-Kubra, the Armageddon, a war between Romans and Muslims. The black banner, probably meaning the banner of ISIS, will come from Khorasan, the modern Afghanistan, and nothing will bring it back until it is planted in Jerusalem. Mecca will attack and Kaaba will be destroyed. Emergence of an army from Yemen which will make Islam dominant. An Arab king will die. There will be disagreement on the succession. Then a man will come out of Medina. He will rush to Mecca, and the people of Mecca will come to him and urge him to try and force him to accept the Bai'ah. This is the list of the minor signs of the hour mentioned in the Qur'an, which are very interesting as they match incredibly the current situation of our modern world. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and more videos will come on this same channel.